Did you know that at some point in 2024, the Nashville Predators went up for sale, and there was one buyer who absolutely, unequivocally, with no matching bids, was able to purchase and own the Nashville Predators. His name is Brock Boeser. Because man, oh man, it's been 2 seasons and Brock still owns this gosh darn team. 2 goals tonight for the Vancouver Canucks as the visiting team wraps up their road trip with Quinn Hughes in the lineup. 2 goals for Brock Boeser, 2 goals for Evander Kane, and the buzzer beater gives Vancouver a 5-4 overtime win. Hey, for all the similarities that people will go out there and bring up when it comes to Adam Foote and Rick Tocchet, this team certainly is doing a lot better in overtime compared to last year's team. The Vancouver Canucks could have even made the playoffs if they just won a few more overtime games, instead of losing all the ones that they did. But this year's Vancouver Canucks, so far at least, knock on wood, they are undefeated in overtime. It's a pretty good record for the Vancouver Canucks, and they almost went to a shootout in this one, folks. But ultimately, it's Brady Shea who loses a board battle in the corner, and it results in the ultimate game-winning goal for Brock. Man, I feel for Predators fans. I feel like Brock Boeser is like haunting their nightmares at this point. 2024 playoff run, all of those late second goals and the hat tricks to eliminate Nashville. Artie Shilov's going out there with shutouts, and inevitably 2 seasons later, Brock is still delivering daggers to the Predators. But this game was not without its faults as well. I saw people complaining on social media. They're like, hey, I have Thatcher Demko and Juuse Saros in fantasy hockey, and I started them both today. I am getting cooked! Because as the score would imply, 5-4 means that both of these goalies were leaking goals with every puck thrown towards the net. Shots on goal 37 for Vancouver, 29 for the Nashville Predators. Juuse Saros made 32 saves on 37 shots, 5 goals against, and an .865 save percentage. Meanwhile, Thatcher Demko, an .862 save percentage, 4 goals against on 29 shots against. So, what a night it was for goaltending, eh? But getting into the fun stuff, first period comes and we have ourselves an opening goal scored by Filip Forsberg, 6 minutes and 47 seconds in. This one, honestly, not Demko's fault, I'd say. It's a 2-on-1 opportunity. For some reason, Hughes is way behind the play. There was a turnover that Vancouver had at the Nashville blue line, which caused this rush, and Quinn ended up pinching on the wrong guy. What a bad way for Quinn Hughes to start out his Vancouver Canucks road trip. Start and end, essentially, since this is the only game he'll play of it. But Tyler Myers cannot stop the centering pass from Brady Shea. Over onto Filip Forsberg, who is in alone. He gets a tap on Demko. It gets stopped, and then the rebound is right there. He pots that in. It's a first period 1-0 goal for Nashville, only for Vancouver to respond on the man advantage 8 minutes later. The first unit is not able to get anything to go, but the second unit, this is where we start to see some offense, as Phil Hronek tosses the puck over to the right point, and it's Evander Kane with a rocket from beyond the faceoff dot, just chucks it towards the goal, and it is in by Saros over that glove. It's a quick shot. It's a classic NHL goal. Like when Evander Kane was drafted decades ago, when he made his NHL debut and he was playing and stuff, these were the kinds of goals that would consistently go in, and the kinds of shots that would be taken. Slop shots from far out, from distance, one-timers. You don't normally see shots like that be taken anymore in the NHL because the landscape has changed. So much emphasis is put on puck possession and working the puck for the best shot possible. You don't just see one-timers wildly out of nowhere anymore. But Evander Kane did that. He tied the game up 1-1, and Vancouver, then gets themselves the lead into the second period. It's Jake DeBrusk off of a 5-on-3 that Vancouver was given by the referees here. 5-on-3 expires. Hughes goes across over to Hronek. 5-on-3 expires. You have Pettersson now. Back to Hronek across. Hronek into the middle, and it's Jake DeBrusk who tips it through the wickets of Juuse Saros. It is a power play goal, but it's not a 5-on-3 goal. It's technically a 5-on-4, as the last Predators guy was able to enter the play. But Jake DeBrusk, with his net front antics, is able to get the lead back in Vancouver's hands. And then Brock Boeser, just 3 minutes later, ends up giving Vancouver an even bigger lead. The rush is started by Tom Wilander, who drives right down the middle and onto the left side. Look at Wilander. He's so elegant and powerful in his skating, and he's confident too. He centers it out in front. It gets by 2, 3, 4 bodies. And then Brock Boeser just pounces on that loose puck, fires it top cheese. It beats Saros, and on Vancouver's 23rd shot of the game, it's 3-1. Very nice goal there. At this point, I was kind of smooth sailing. I was like, yeah, no, I got Thatcher Demko in my fantasy league, and he's only let in 1 goal so far. He's doing well. And then Erik Haula scored on the power play. Yeah, thanks, Ratu. He ended up hooking Steven Stamkos. And I don't know what it was, man. The Predators, they're moving it around. You just felt that a goal was coming. And that's exactly what happened. Nashville's 14th shot of the hockey game. It's a centering feed to Erik Haula. It's the old Bo Horvat bumper play where Filip Forsberg on the goal line dangles around a D-man, throws it back, and then Haula's there to pot it in. Reduce the lead down to 1. Now, in the third period, this is where Vancouver started to get back up on the board. They increased that lead. Delayed penalty called as Drew O'Connor, I believe it was, got hooked up on the boards. So the Vancouver Canucks, they decide to take advantage. 6-on-5, Quinn Hughes roving around in the zone. He tosses it over to Marcus Pettersson, who throws it in front for Linus Karlsson. The puck takes a weird bounce, and it's Evander Kane who was able to pounce onto the loose puck and shove it into the open net, essentially. Juuse Saros was down, and he was sprawling, trying to get back over to it. Evander Kane scored 2 goals today after having 0 goals in the first however many games of the season for Vancouver. Nice to see him finally get rewarded with some offense and numbers after the chances that he had fumbled earlier in the game and the year. Linus Karlsson and Marcus Pettersson got the assists, and Vancouver has a 4-2 lead. That is only for 8 minutes, because just a little bit later you have Michael Bunting, who deflects a Spencer Stastny shot from the point. He just rips it, and it deflects off of Bunting and in. Bunting sneaks in behind Elias Pettersson and gets his foot out, so the puck bounces off of his skate and in. Not a kicking motion, he was just rotating his foot to get the angle. I don't think Elias Pettersson even saw the guy come up from behind him, and for Thatcher Demko, it's hard to really blame him on that. It was a tip in the goal mouth, essentially. And then just a few minutes later, when Evander Kane goes to the box for high sticking, you then have Nick Blankenburg on the power play. Again, you just felt like a goal was coming. 3 minutes to go, and the Predators get their second in a row. It's Blankenburg from the point who just rips it, and it beats Demko. I was like, what the hell, man? Nashville has 4 goals on 24 shots, and Thatcher Demko is already ruining my week with the save percentages he's putting up here. He kind of overcommits to the middle, and Blankenburg goes short side as the pass comes over to him. It's a 4-4 hockey game, and then we go to overtime. The overtime was pretty funny. Vancouver was playing keep away for most of it, and the Nashville Predators fanbase were booing their heads off. But you know why we're all here, baby. Because after a Kiefer Sherwood drive and a shot attempt that gets stopped up, and the ensuing face-off, the puck gets lost in the corner. Elias Pettersson fights off the check of Brady Shea, and one touch chops it into the middle for Brock Boeser, who comes in all alone on Juuse Saros. He backhands it, and it is in. Vancouver scores a buzzer beater in the last 2 seconds of overtime to win the game 5-4, and Vancouver gets an ever-so-needed 2 points on these trying times. Quinn Hughes is back. Teddy Bluger, he's coming back. Garland is coming back too. Quinn, I honestly thought he had a pretty alright game. He could have been a little better, but hey, it's his first game in a while. He's hurt, so he doesn't need to be perfect at this point, although when he is, it definitely helps. He was good, like within expectations, he was all right, so just gotta work at it and continue to grow and be more confident out there, I guess. There were some scares in the overtime. Vancouver was getting a little pushy with how they wanted to control it and pass at the last second, but ultimately, they got the win, so it's only worth complaining about if it doesn't work, right? And it did. So Vancouver wraps this up with a 5-4 overtime win. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section about how Brock Boeser owns the Nashville Predators. I hope you enjoyed this British Ashroll sign on. And bye.